Minister of Education, Culture and Science in the Netherlands, drs.Ingrid van Engelshoven, Minister of Education, Culture, Youth and Sport of Sint Maarten, the Honorable Wycliffe Smith, Secretary General of the Ministry of Education, Culture, Youth and Sport, Ms. Sharmina Powell-Richardson, Secretary General of UNESCO, Ms. Marcelia Henry, Head of Education Department, Ms. Sidonia Lacobinier-Hodge, Head of the Culture Department, Ms. Clara Reyes, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I'm Relika Roach of the Department of Communication, and today I would like to welcome you to the press conference on behalf of the Minister of Education, Culture, Youth and Sport on the working visit of the Minister of Education, Culture and Science in the Netherlands. For more on this topic, I would like to invite Minister Smith to give his remarks. Minister Smith.
Good afternoon to my colleague from the Netherlands, the Honorable Minister of Education, Culture and Science, drs.Ingrid van Engelshoven, to the head of the representation of the Netherlands, Mr. Chris Johnson, to the Secretary General of the Ministry of Education, Culture, Youth and Sport, Secretary, and to the heads of the divisions of the departments who are present, and to all guests. It's a pleasure to welcome you to this press briefing. Today, we're here for a very historic occasion, and that's a meeting of minds and vision sharing. And we are here at this momentous event in the joining of two ministries to lend support in the commitment to the restoration of cultural legacies and in recognizing the ancestral craftsmanship and the passing on of traditions to the next generation. Acclaimed and royal decorated Sint Maarten artist Roland Richardson once said, we don't own the art. However, once the baton of the artist and his legacy are passed on to us, we have to ensure that we do not drop the baton. We have to make sure that the legacy continues. And we are just temporary managers, he said. Thus, in our capacity as ministers, we have to facilitate the process to ensure that that legacy continues. We may not drop the baton. Today, there is a letter of intent that we have agreed upon and that we will be signing at a later date. And this letter of intent is to secure funding that will ensure that the restoration of St. Maarten's monuments, and by and large the monuments of the kingdom, can be restored. This coming together is a true commitment of both ministries to work together to jointly secure the traditions of those that came before us, traditions for our future generations. And the objective of the letter of intent is to collaborate with the Netherlands and to propose the necessary conditions and procedures for an independent monument fund here on Sint Maarten that will receive funds from the National Restoration Revolving Funds of the Netherlands for the restoration of our monuments here. In 2019, the Ministry of OCW, Onderwijs, Cultuur, Wetenschappen, Education, Culture and Sciences, in collaboration with the National Restoration Revolving Fund of the Netherlands, secured funds for urgent repairs of monuments that sustained severe damage through the ferocious winds of the well-known Hurricane Irma. The fund is made available in the form of a loan that is to be distributed as a loan for monument restoration to eligible monument owners of St. Maarten, and to serve to assist with essential rebuilding and fortifying of the monuments that face both natural and man-made disasters. My colleague and I had the opportunity yesterday to visit some of our monuments in Philipsburg, especially those in which people are living. We were very impressed by the proud display of the people who live in these monuments and this proud display of their cultural heritage and their strong desire to have their homes, which are considered monuments, restored. Minister van Engelshoven and myself will be reviewing the Monument Fund to see how best we can accommodate persons who may not be able to access a loan to restore their building. I feel that with the signing of this letter of intent, when we get to that point, that it is an opportune moment to pass on the baton of history and our legacy and our tradition to the next generation. The continuation of the legacy of the Sint Maarten monument. And so with this, I would like to hand you an unsigned letter at this time, which we will be signing later, but it indicates that we both agree that we must together preserve as much as possible the monuments here on Sint Maarten.
Thank you.
Now, the second objective of this press moment is to present a copy of our first intangible cultural heritage inventory of Sint Maarten. And this is what I would like to present also to my colleague, the Minister of Education, Culture and Sciences from the Netherlands. Sint Maarten co-ratified the Convention for the Safeguarding of the Intangible Heritage on May 21st, 2014. Article 12 of the Convention states, and I quote, "To ensure identification with a view to safeguarding, each state party shall draw up in a manner geared to its own situation one or more inventories of the intangible cultural heritage present in its territory. And these inventories shall be regularly updated." Unquote. In order to properly fulfill the convention, an Intangible Cultural Heritage Committee was established in 2014 here on Sint Maarten, consisting of UNESCO Secretary General Marcelia Henry, policy officers from the Department of Culture, Lourdes Wilson and later on Shireen Alambi Duncan, youth leaders Melanie Choisy and Ralph Cantave, and representative of the cultural organization National Institute of the Arts, NIA, Clara Reis. The Intangible Cultural Heritage Committee engaged with a number of community members such as senior citizens, tradition bearers, and heritage experts, both in the field, in meetings, and in national consultations, to gather critical information of Sint Maarten's livable, intangible cultural heritage. Additionally, online and physical surveys were launched and data was collected. Numerous stakeholders' consultations were held, and eventually a national inventory was compiled. To ensure the legitimacy of the inventory, feedback from UNESCO trainers and local participants was taken into consideration and also applied. These trainers and local participants also assisted the committee in finalizing the list in 2018. The Sint Maarten government, with stakeholders, are committed to measures that can promote and safeguard our intangible cultural heritage, particularly those elements that are in danger of dying or in danger of becoming obsolete. With the development and implementation of governmental and private public policy, curriculum, intangible cultural heritage-based activities, events, projects and initiatives, there will be an increased chance of safeguarding our intangible cultural heritage. In addition, the Department of Culture and Sint Maarten NatCom for UNESCO intend to maximize public awareness at the local, national, and international levels by publishing aspects of the intangible cultural heritage, using different marketing and educational tools such as documentaries, calendars, pamphlets, school booklets, etc. Today is therefore a very pivotal day, a new chapter for ensuring the sweet Sint Maarten cultural legacy. We hereby would like to present to you, Madam Minister, the first intangible cultural heritage inventory list.
Thank you.
And in this list you will find lots of aspects of Sint Maarten's cultural heritage, past and also present.
Thank you.
Deals with our songs, our proverbs, our dances, foods, etc., etc.
Thank you.
Thank you, Minister Smith, for your remarks. I would now like to invite Minister Engelshoven to give her remarks.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon, everyone. It's a great honor to be here, and it's been a wonderful 2 days here on the island. My first visit here, and I want to thank my colleague Wycliffe Smith for his hospitality. He's been a great guide through the island. We've seen it a lot, but I also want to compliment him on the list on the intangible cultural heritage, because it's not only a list, but also in the process of making the list, you did a great effort and a great job in having it made by dialogue with all of the population of Sint Maarten, and that's a well done job. There's lots for me to learn, but also with this list and with the letter of intent we agreed upon for the Monument Fund. I think we both stated that for the both of us we have a common history, and that history lies in our heritage, in the intangible heritage and in our monuments. And it's our job to safeguard this common history for future generations. So thank you so much for your work, and it's a great honor to receive the first copy. And the other thing is, I had a lot of visits in your education system, and it was I was here to prepare for the conference from the 4 countries on Curaçao. We have later this week. And it was great. It was a great preparation for this conference, because I learned so much about what's going on here in education and where we can help and support each other. So thank you for showing me around and letting me learn about the chances and the challenges in education here. And we had we had a wonderful 2 days, also with a wonderful dinner last night, where I was able to really take a plunge in your culture with great performances. It was a great honor for me to meet and to have a discussion with Miss Ruby Butte, whom we received in the Netherlands a great work of art from her hand, from Sint Maarten, as thanks for the aid given after the hurricane. And it's my honor to have the work of art in my ministry for a while. But it was great for me to meet her, but it was also great to see the community choir, but also to talk and engage with young students from the art school who are very talented, and It was great to see their energy and their ambition. So thank you very much for this wonderful visit. I hope to be back. It was a wonderful first time, and we have a lot of work to do together, and I hope we can sign the letter of intent soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Minister Engelshoven. I would now like to invite Minister Smith to give his closing remarks.
Thank you very much. I would also like to extend my appreciation to my colleague from the Netherlands for coming to visit Sint Maarten. And we've had great discussions, and I would say in all instances we do see eye to eye and we're on the same page, and we have promised to collaborate and work together in the interest of Sint Maarten and the kingdom. And so we will be traveling to Curaçao and meeting each other there, where we will be discussing matters mutual to education of the 4 countries in the kingdom. I would like to say to the Department of Education, the Department of Culture, and to the Secretary General and staff, many thanks for organizing this tour that we've had and the discussions. We have had a seamless program, no hiccups. So that goes to show that together with the VNG, Dutch representative, and our ministry, we've been able to work very well together. And I think that should be a model of how we can proceed in the future of working together with each other. Once there's mutual understanding, we can accomplish a great deal. So I'm very pleased, and thank you very much for gracing us with your presence, and wish you well as you continue to visit the other islands. And we will see each other soon in Curaçao for the Summit of Ministers of Education. Before you leave, there's a token of appreciation that we would like to hand to you. And may I give the honor and privilege to the Secretary General of the Ministry of Education to hand you this.
Thank you so much. It was my pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Want me to open it?
Yes, you may. It's. I hope you'll have some room in your suitcase for it, but it's a sample of something cultural from Sint Maarten.
Okay. It's well wrapped. Maybe I'll keep it wrapped.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Minister
Thank you,
Smith.
Minister, and I hope this will not be the last time that you will visit, and we'll be able to continue to work together.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Minister Smith, for your closing remarks. I would now like to open the floor for any questions the media may have. Mr. John van Kerkhoff of the Daily Herald, you have the floor.
Thank you. See if this is on.
It's on.
Is it on? Yeah. Good afternoon. I have a question about the letter of intent pertaining to the Monument Fund. Could you elaborate a little further about that? How much money will be made available, or will it cover just, you mentioned homes, but will it also include other monuments like churches or the fort?
Thank you very much for your question. The letter intent says that we mutually agree to the importance of ensuring that our monuments are preserved and restored, and that we will do whatever is necessary. From Sint Maarten's end, we will be putting a structure in place in order to receive and to manage the funds. And from the Dutch side, the minister will ensure that the monies that have been allocated will get to that fund here on Sint Maarten. The amount at this time is 750,000 euro. And as we indicated, it's going to be dispersed via loan, in forms of a loan, soft loan, and anybody who is eligible will be able to receive those funds to be able to restore the monument. So that is, could be homeowners, could be churches, could be any other monument, as long as the funds are available. And we hope that this would be just an initial installment. But that's as far as we can give you that information about the monument funds.
I have a second question.
Thank you, Minister. Yes, you may go ahead.
Second question pertaining to the library, considering that you are not only ministers of education but also of culture, and the library is, well, yeah, basically an institution covering culture and education as well. Now we all know that the library is in a very difficult situation because the building is currently not being able to use. Students cannot go there to study anymore. Or did you discuss this situation also in connection with the recovery fund?
The library and our discussions had really nothing to do about the recovery fund. But briefly we talked about the library. The situation with the library is as such that there is a board, a foundation, that operates, manages the library. The government subsidizes the library. And we have had meetings with the board of the library as to the way forward. The board of the library currently, they're working on plans, architectural drawings, and so on, so that we can see what the library will be looking like, what it would cost, and so forth. So the library has our concern. We want to see it back operational as quickly as possible. And we're working with the board of the library to ensure that that happens as soon as possible.
Thank you, Minister Smith. Stephen Cyrilin of PJ82 Radio, do you have any questions?
Good afternoon. I might just ask a question that has already been addressed, but to piggyback on the question of my colleague, Minister Smith, taking into consideration the seriousness of the situation at the library, do you not think it would be at least wise to go into details discussing it with your colleague?
Well, as I said, the library has a board that manages that situation. So we haven't discussed it. We were here to discuss some very pre-planned topics. The library was not one of them. The library is something that locally we're really looking at and dealing with as to the best of our ability together with the board.
I overheard your colleague basically when I was walking in, you said that she will be visiting the various islands. Specifically, what's your trip all about, if you may tell us?
Well, it's my first trip to this part of the kingdom. I will visit. I visited Curacao. I will go there again. I've been here. I go to Aruba tonight. I have two main goals in this trip. Of course, getting to know the islands, getting to know my colleagues. And we have the summit of the four ministers of education on Friday on Curacao. And I'm also preparing for that summit because we have common interest. We have we have all in the interest of education and students. We share some concerns, and I think it's important that I get to the summit well informed. So I thought, we visit the island first and then have the summit. And of course, there's also the common cultural heritage we all share. And for me, this trip is also in about getting informed about what's to be done, where we can strengthen the ties, where we can work together, where we can cooperate. So actually, it is It's really a first visit. It's about getting informed, getting to know each other, and having a look at where we can work together in the part of education and in the part of cultural heritage.
If I may.
I will allow the
final.
last question, yes.
Based on the information as was provided to you by the Minister of Education, Wycliffe Smith, would you say that the two ministries of education culture are traveling down the same path?
Well, I think we share the same interest, and what I saw here is that, of course, after there are some there's work to be done on schools after the hurricane, and there my ministry assists the ministry of my colleague, and of course we all we have a common interest in the future of our students, and as you know, there are a lot of there are students coming for further studies to the Netherlands, and we have a common interest in making sure that they are successful in their studies. So that's surely on my agenda, and it's great to see that here where how education is organized and how students are prepared for studies abroad. In the discussions we had, we see that we share the same concerns and we are on the same path.